one of the things that's been talked about in church planting circles is multi-site. It's a definition that came on the scene probably about 10 years ago, and it was written up in a book, I think in 2007, called The Multi-Site Revolution. What are we talking about when we talk about a multi-site church? Well, really simply, a multi-site church is one church in two or more locations with shared leadership, shared budget, shared resources. I guess the aim of it is to leverage off the DNA of a church that's healthy, evangelistic and effective, make use of the teaching team, the resources, in order to reach a new geographic segment or a new demographic or a new location where the people in your church are already meeting. You'll see on the website there are a bunch of resources recently that I've just put up which help you work through the decision of, or how do we decide to go to multi-site? What I want to talk about now is what are some of the types or models of a multi-site church. The first one, and probably the one that we've heard lots about, controversially, is the video venue model. So here we have the location, the church, which would set up a number of sites where they would beam in either live or pre-recorded, sometimes for the whole time, sometimes for just once a month, the sermon. That allows the local campus to have their own worship style or their own service style, but to leverage off, I guess, one of the key resources or one of the resources that sucks a lot of time, the sermon at the start of the week. So the first one is that video venue or video campus model. We see that in Australia in a number of churches. Hillsong, in a number of their campuses, have video venues. City on a Hill, Melbourne, who have locations in Geelong, the West in Melbourne and in Melbourne City as well, in the CBD. I think they do one service a month where they would beam that video in. The second model is the regional campus model, or the regional campus model. So that's replicating the experience of the original campus at additional sites in order to make the church more accessible, as I said, to a geographic segment or a demographic group. So again, you've got the mother church, and for whatever reason, they've made the decision to start another site in a number of locations, and they replicate what's taken place in that mother church. Now, where we see that, I guess a good example is Holy Trinity in Adelaide. They have done mother-daughter church planting, but they've also replicated their sites and put in a campus pastor or a church planting leader in that site. And so they share some of the DNA, they would share some of the style, but each site and each service principally, works independently, of a service, but they come together for shared leadership, resources, training, and in some ways, they would see themselves as a network of churches as well. So Holy Trinity in Adelaide is a great example of that. A variation on this model is to go with a teaching team model. So again, you've got the mother church or the Hub Church. They have some great teaching leaders there, and they set up the sites so that they can actually leverage those resources to have live teaching in those places. And so there might be 2 or 3 preachers on a roster, and the sites work out so that the teaching load can be shared. Now, I've seen a number of variations of this in practice. Some churches might have a pastor preaching a series in the evening and then a pastor preaching a series in the morning, and they just switch around that teaching time so that, I guess, there's an opportunity to leverage the resource that way. So there's 3 models, 3 multi-site models. There's the video venue, there's the regional campus model, and then a variation on that is a teaching team model, which you all might like to try, with a view to see disciples being made in local contexts.